Star Wars Battlefront 2 is one of the most detailed Star Wars games out there, full of secrets and Easter eggs and intricate Star Wars worlds. Honestly, it might be the most detailed Star Wars game. And so, with all the new PC players coming with the game being free on the Epic Games Store, I thought this would be a great chance to take a look at some of Battlefront 2's incredible details and Easter eggs. There's a lot of them in the game, and some of these you might have already noticed, some maybe not, but if there are any details or Easter eggs you'd like me to point out in one of these videos, let me know, and maybe I'll make another one. Hey everyone, it's Andrew. Okay, first up, we're heading to the First Order's Resurgent class Star Destroyer, and you might have noticed there's a cafeteria section here where the Stormtroopers get their lunch when they're not fighting off invading Resistance forces. Well, there's actually a few Easter eggs here I've talked about in other videos, but I remember this map having a lot of little details, so I came back and on some of the tables found this, a hologram of a First Order Stormtrooper. But why is this on some of the cafeteria tables? So I decided to try and translate the Aurebesh, the Star Wars text here. At the top it says FN0208, so Stormtrooper 0208. And then on the side here, this says Worker of the Month. So this Stormtrooper received the Employee of the Month award on this Star Destroyer. No idea what for, perhaps he was able to land a couple lucky shots in the First Order's last battle. But what did FN0208 receive for being Worker of the Month? 1 week of holovid access, yes! That's what it says down here anyway, among a few other things. I was having trouble translating this because the writing is so small, but basically he got to watch TV for a week. Not getting many First Order privileges, are they? Only allowed to watch TV for a single week. What else do Stormtroopers do in their spare time? I bet it would have been interrupted as well because, you know, the Resistance invaded. Okay, next up, I want to draw your attention to some of the reinforcement characters. Almost every reinforcement in Battlefront 2 has their own custom melee attack, and this is something that was only added to the game with the final update when the ARC troopers were updated. For their melee attack, they turn their blaster pistols backwards and use the handles as blunt weapons. The Wookiees swing at enemies with their bowcaster and then also have the slam attack. The ISB agent is probably the fastest reinforcement melee with her taekwondo kicks and spins, and she also has the assault training speed ability for faster movement. Ewoks have their spear, just like in Ewok Hunt. The BX commando droids have the vibroblade, which is one of their abilities. The Kafek spy has the truncheon. Ovisian gunner has their charge attack and can swing their giant blaster at enemies. The Sith trooper has a sidekick. Both the B2 super battle droid and B2 rocket droid swing their mechanical arms. The Death troopers have just a basic swing with their blaster. And then the clone commandos have one of the most unique attacks of all. They punch using the vibroblade attached to their wrist, which is taken straight out of Republic Commando. And this is a one hit on regular infantry, making it the most powerful standard melee attack of all the reinforcements. Now, all the jump and jet troopers, the aerial class, have pretty much the same melee as regular troopers. And there's one class that has no melee attack at all, the Droideka. Although I do wish they could run people over when you're, rolling around the battlefront. Just run someone over. But overall, a lot of unique characters and animations. Okay, next up, I want to show you an incredibly minor detail about Rey you might not have noticed before. So Rey has several different appearances. There's her standard appearance, the Last Jedi appearance, Rise of Skywalker appearance, and also her yellow lightsaber. And there's something small here with her yellow lightsaber you probably never noticed. Here, I'll compare the yellow lightsaber with her regular blue and see if you can tell the difference. See anything? Did you notice Rey's thumb when igniting the lightsaber? With the yellow blade, Rey flicks her thumb to turn on the lightsaber, but with Anakin's blue lightsaber, she doesn't. If you remember from the film, Rey's yellow lightsaber is quite unique in that she actually twists this dial to turn it on. That's what she was doing with her thumb here. Most other lightsabers are turned on with a button. So the fact DICE went as far as to animate her thumb for this different appearance just to keep this accurate, I think is incredible. What attention to detail. The award in thumb animation goes to DICE. While we're in the menu, a couple of other really small details you might not have noticed. Let me show you the Ewok. Now, this is something I caught out of the corner of my eye a while back when I was inspecting the Ewok. If you look really closely at his bow, right here is actually a Stormtrooper helmet etched into the wood. And it's so hard to tell, but I think next to it might be a few hash marks, like the Ewok is counting the number of Stormtroopers he's killed. Those evil, savage Ewoks getting Ewok Hunt nightmares. Anyway, no reason at all for DICE to add this to the Ewok. The detail is so ridiculously small you'd never see it unless you were looking for it, but this just gives him a little bit of added personality, doesn't it? And I figured if the Ewok has a tiny detail like this, then perhaps one of the other classes will too. So I went searching through each of the reinforcements and actually found this. Etched into the metal of the Ovisian Gunner's blaster cannon is the helmet of a First Order Stormtrooper with crossbones, and also he has a few hash marks next to it as well. So there you go. Everyone's counting their Stormtrooper kills. Next, we're heading to Jabba's palace on Tatooine, and this is something I'd actually never noticed on this map, even though I've been playing the game since even before launch, because this has been in the game since before launch. In one corner of the palace, way downstairs, locked behind bars, are 3 Gamorrean guards. 2 of them are kind of just sitting there looking sorry for themselves, and the third can't stop trying to break his way out of there, helplessly pulling on the bars that lead into the next cell. Not sure what they're doing locked up down here though. Did the rebels or the Empire lock them up? Or did they disobey Jabba and are waiting to be fed to the Rancor? Also, you can't shoot them or interact with them in any way, unfortunately. Of course, I tried this and would have been cool to actually see them react, but not to be. I also tried stunning them with a grenade, but that didn't work either. Too busy sitting there miserable and helpless. So one thing players who are new to the game might not have noticed just yet is that certain planets have different times of day and experience slightly different weather conditions. No, it never stops raining on Kamino, but Tatooine Mos Eisley, for example, has 3 times of day: the blue sky, sunup, and sunset, and night. And this completely changes the complexion and color of the map. Hoth has 2 separate times with daytime and this incredible pink sunset. Also, Crate got an added sunset map with Battlefront 2's final update. There's Naboo, there's day and night on Naboo, and a bunch of others. But I love how this adds another layer to Battlefront 2's abundance of maps. The game has something like 25 unique locations, so to add day and night elements on top of this keeps maps feeling different every time you visit. If I could choose just one more map to have an added time of day, I'd want Felucia Night, which there's a mod for, but man, this thing is gorgeous. And speaking of Felucia, if you head inside some of the Felucian village houses, you'll notice lots of children's paintings hung up on the walls. Well, take a look at this here. This is an Acklay, that creature Obi-Wan faces in the Geonosis arena with the giant pincers. These guys are actually native to Felucia and appeared in the original Battlefront 2. They unfortunately weren't included in EA's Battlefront 2. Can you imagine how scary it would be running into one of these guys in the Felucian jungle? Man. No thanks. Scary enough in the original Battlefront 2, but it's cool how they at least dropped a little reference to them here, acknowledging their existence on this planet. There's a bunch more creatures you can find in these paintings and heaps of other Easter eggs on Felucia. I've covered them all in a previous video, so if you want to check out that, the video is in the top right corner. Now, if you're new to the game, this is something else you might not have noticed. There are 2 major large-scale game modes in Battlefront 2, right? Galactic Assault and Supremacy. Well, on certain maps, the events of Galactic Assault and Supremacy are actually linked. Take Kamino, for example. In Galactic Assault, the clones were fighting off the droid invasion on Kamino, and it seems as if the invasion was just beginning, just as you launch into the battle. You'll see enemy ships coming to attack Kamino, the Trident-class assault ships will be landing and just start drilling into Kamino structures, and then jump to Supremacy. Parts of Kamino have been destroyed and overrun. There's dead clones and droids, wreckage, and it feels like the battle has been going for quite some time by this point. Also, all the Kaminoans you see tending to the injured clones in Galactic Assault have either been evacuated or killed. Supremacy seems to be the aftermath of Galactic Assault, and you'll notice that across other maps in Supremacy as well. Sometimes it might be the other way around though, so please correct me on that. And while you're taking your time to notice the finer details of these maps, take a look at the battles surrounding each of Battlefront 2's larger maps. There are lots of large-scale events that play out on each of these maps, like the Battle of Geonosis. You'll see spider droids, dwarf spider droids, clones, droids, and more, all pushing up and down the battlefront. Felucia has hailfire tanks and other reinforcements in the distance. I still wish we could actually control and pilot these in the game, but there's so many of these different events you can watch and play out in the background that you might not notice if you're too focused on the actual game. So next time you play, just stop and take a look for a couple minutes. It's beautiful to see all the background animation and noise that's going on. You'll also notice capital ships overhead firing missiles at one another, dogfights, skirmishes, fighters flying overhead, and so much more. There's a lot lot of detail in this background stuff. So take a look. Okay, now I just want to take you guys briefly back into the menus to observe a small animation you might not have noticed. If you watch closely, you can actually see the characters breathing. This is something I noticed a while back, just while sitting in the menu, but their chests actually gently move up and down as their lungs inhale and exhale. And this is something you don't always see in other games. Sure, characters have idle animations, but do they actually breathe? I think it's really cool to see this kind of attention to detail and the fact that the characters are actually alive. Good job, DICE. So I'd love to know something you might have noticed recently in Battlefront 2. See any smaller details or Easter eggs? Let me know. And also, if you know my channel, you probably know I've made lots of these kinds of videos for Jedi Fallen Order, so you can watch one of them here along with some of the other Battlefront details. And follow me on Instagram, Twitter, and join my Discord. Come send me your Easter eggs and everything else Star Wars gaming news related. And thanks for watching this. My name's Andrew. I'll catch you soon.
Stay bombastic.